You're listening to Wicked Thoughts, a podcast by Flair Castro, founder of DashoContent. This show is dedicated to helping founders and professionals understand business trends, digital marketing, and how to be a better entrepreneur. In Season 6, we dive into a dash of AI in marketing, exploring how artificial intelligence is revolutionizing the marketing landscape. From automation to personalization, we'll uncover the impact of AI on marketing strategies and execution. Let's get into it in 3, 2, 1.
Awesome. Welcome, everyone. I am Charlene of DashoContent. Thank you for joining us today for the AI Gold Rush Tools, Trends, and Truth webinar presented by DashoContent and Aspire. We're excited to have you here as our speakers here and our participants to discuss the fascinating world of AI and its impact on marketing and business and growth as a whole. This event is the first of a series called Road to DashCon. It is a precursor and a little taste of what is to come on August 1st for DashCon 2024. So DashCon 2024, it is a top business and marketing conference happening in the Philippines. It is designed as an interactive knowledge exchange specifically about AI. But for today, we are exploring the cutting-edge tools, the emerging trends, and uncover the truths behind AI technologies with, of course, the insights from our guests here today. So that is our intro. Let's get to the meat of this whole thing. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to your host for today, Ms. Flair Castro. She's the founder and CEO of DashoContent. Go ahead, Ms. Flair.
Hi, thank you, Ms. Charlene, and thank you to everyone who's here today, from our friends who are joining in and also our panelists. This session will also be recorded and will be published on our podcast, Wicked Thoughts, in collaboration with DashEd. So let me just quickly share my screen so we have some sort of visual. Okay. All right. So our topic today, very interesting. It's a re-echo of what we have learned from Super AI, the conference that we were all a part of some 2 weeks ago. Was that right, gentlemen? So June 5 to 6, we were in Singapore. It was a 2-day conference. There were a lot of things happening, but definitely the things that we learned, we want to share with you today. It's either going to be tools, the trends, and some truth that we want to share. So without further ado, I'm going to share with you who the panelists are. We have Bo Descarga from Better Team. Hi, Bo. Great to have you here this afternoon. And then Sir Wilson Chua of Future Gen, who actually lives in Singapore and was there for the conference to listen in to his favorite session, Edward Snowden, I believe. And of course, we have here Eugene Fedorchenko, who I just recently met in Singapore as well. I think Eugene here is based in Australia, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, these will be your speakers and panelists today. So before we start with the actual topic, a quick introduction about myself. I'm Flair Castro, founder and CEO of DashoContent. Now, what is DashoContent? We are an AI-powered content subscription platform, and what we do is that we simplify content creation for brands by matching them with the right creatives and writers inside a private dashboard, which is AI-powered. So just want to quickly go through it and geek out because we've been working on DashoContent for almost 3 years now. It's going to be our 3rd anniversary after DashCon. So we are a full stack content subscription platform. So our goal is to provide unlimited content in either text or graphics. So what we do is we personalize it for marketing and for marketing campaigns. So we do SEO articles, social media posts, even UGC content and videos that a lot of brands would need in their digital marketing. So with DashoContent, the interesting thing here is that we provide an actual private dashboard where they can order their unlimited content, whether it's content, all of both the content, graphics and text. And we provide on the dashboard AI-assisted content brief to make it easier for brands. We have a content request tracker and a content scorecard to be able to understand the readability, the brand voice analysis, the sentiments analysis of the content being produced by our partner creatives and writers. So that's what we do. So we have businesses and we have the talent on our platform who are ready to take their digital marketing to the next level. So that's what we do at DashoContent. And what we want to geek out about is the AI part of the whole emerging space, because AI has been a buzzword ever since what, like start of 2021 or end of 2021 when ChatGPT came out. So it was a big thing. And people were starting to geek out about AI, that it's actually here, it's already consumerized. And with AI, we realized that, hey, it's not really going to take over the jobs of creatives and writers, because within the whole content workflow, there are parts there that can still be really human assisted. Like there are parts there that need the human capabilities, the human talent. So we call it humans in the loop. So both AI and humans are inside DashoContent to enable capability. Now, our next speaker is Bo Descarga. He is the founder and CEO as well of Better Team. So Better Team is an AI-powered employee experience platform. So I will let Bo explain more about Better Team. Go ahead, Bo.
Thank you, Claire. Thank you, everyone, for coming over. Let me just share my screen quickly. Oh, it's disabled. So again, my name is Bo, and I am the founder and CEO of Better Team. Better Team is a people analytics platform. We're heavily focused on identifying the likelihood of an employee from leaving their jobs. So the value that we're delivering to our clients is really the view of what might happen in the future. You know, the view of the potential disruptions that might happen in their overall operations. So by giving our clients that ability to predict the number of employees or the volume of attrition that might happen in their organization, it is so powerful to a point that they can allocate resources to where it matters most. Better Team is servicing clients in the BPO industry. At some point, we have operated in South Korea as well. Also trying to service some of the clients in the Asia Pacific region. And the motivation behind Better Team is really those things that we have encountered during the pandemic, where we were all caught off guard because of these, you know, disruptions and unwanted resignations that have happened in our operations. And what we wanted to achieve is that ability or that capability for our clients to predict those potential disruptions in their operations using artificial intelligence.
Thank you, Bo. So that's Bo for you. And our next panelist is Sir Wilson Chua. Hi, Sir Wilson.
Hello, let me share my screen.
Yes.
Can I check with you that you can see my screen?
Yes, we can see it. Sir Wilson here is the founder and CEO of Future Gen Singapore, a business process outsourcing provider. Go ahead, Sir Wilson.
Yes, thanks, Blair. So what we do in short is divided into four major divisions. We help people manage their data using our data center operations. We help people secure the data using our managed security operations center. We also help manage call center and BPO operations. And finally, we apply data analytics for sentiment analysis, predictive analysis, and so on. And I'd like to just re-echo, because that was my marching order from Miss Flair, about the Edward Snowden session at the Super AI. So essentially, it boils down to he's asking the question, and think about the fear that people are now saying that, you know, if AI is unregulated, it may go on to kill humanity, right? He offers an alternative point of view that, hang on, could it also be just a mechanism where larger player or companies, or for that matter, larger countries are raising the specter of AI killing humans as a means to stifle competition and monopolize AI at the expense of the smaller players or smaller countries. So in a nutshell, that was the session. And with that, I give back the floor to you.
Thank you, Sir Wilson. Yeah, that was the marching order, and we're going to uncover and unveil that a lot more later on. And next panelist is Eugene Fedorchenko. He is the founder of Infinite. It's an organization that supports emerging purpose-driven businesses by providing business development services. Hi, Eugene.
Hi everyone, thanks for having me today. Yes, I'll be brief. So Infinite is a boutique advisor based out of Melbourne, Australia. We have several pillars to approach to go to market, both in Australia and Europe. And we apply a methodology of why behind the business, which is always sustainable, whether it's age of AI or not. And we also look at components like organizational design, which is relevant to all this job change and like roles change in reality. And also I'm part of the international community on ethics and responsible AI, which is global advisory company called Ethical Intelligence. So we're looking at ethics and responsible AI from perspective of creating actual practical use cases, because one of the ecos we had at the conference was about importance of creating sustainable use case for application of AI before jumping into any toolkit. So that's me, and great to be here with you today.
Thank you. Thanks much, Eugene. Okay, let me quickly go through my slides here. All right, so let's get started. Now, again, quick background about Super AI. It's one of the recent conferences that happened in Singapore. These gentlemen, I've met them at the conference. Of course, Bo, I've met him before. He's a startup founder. He's also a customer of DashoContent. And Wilson here has been the mentor of DashoContent and myself for years. We were part of a project called Project Base, which is still currently ongoing. So what we do is we monitor the internet capabilities all across the country. So that's how I met these guys. Of course, Eugene here, I've just recently met as well in Singapore. We don't have a photo though, unfortunately. So at Super AI, we learned a lot of things. But for me, I want to condense it into three important parts or three important sections. First would be the tools, and that's what we're going to discuss first. Okay, so tools. I want the gentleman here to share about the highlights. So first, for example, with Bo, how does Better Team leverage AI right now to improve employee experience? Are you using the predictive AI part or the generative AI? Could you share more about that, Bo?
It's really the combination of both, to be honest with you. You see, at Better Team, at our core, we are a predictive AI platform. We get into the different nuisances that affect the overall experience of employees, right? So that has always been the goal. And then we use different machine learning models where we are able to digest millions of employee data, identify the patterns in those data, and build predictive models that assess the likelihood of an employee from leaving their organization. And then in addition to these algorithms, Better Team also adopts natural language processing techniques, and that's to analyze unstructured data such as employee survey responses, emails, conversation, and other textual data so we can extract valuable insights into the overall sentiments of that employee, even their job satisfaction and the potential risk of turnover. And then by looking at all of these data and by utilizing machine algorithms and NLP, we then deliver insights. This is where the generative AI of things coming in. And these insights are all about the data or the commonalities and the trends that we have seen from the data that we are basically getting from our existing clients. And then by using AI technology, we built the prediction model that identifies whether this employee is thinking of leaving within 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months. So those are really combination of different models, different machine learning algorithm, and then now the introduction of NLP into the overall Better Team technology stack.
Did you see the same tools as well with any of the presenters, the speakers, or the fellow startups that were there at the conference? And
Yeah, we
maybe did you learn anything else from them?
Yeah, we've seen it. I think during the Super AI conference, what we've seen was that a lot of the startups, specifically those that have joined the Genesis pitch, are pretty much utilizing predictive AI at some point.
Mhm.
We've seen, just on top of my head, three of these startups are really diving into the natural language processing, specifically the winner of the Genesis competition, primarily because there's just so many unstructured data out there that
Right.
are needed to be digested by the algorithm so we can get the most out of it, right? So yeah, to answer the questions, absolutely. Predictive and NLP are pretty much the algorithm that are heavily being used by a lot of AI startups now.
Sure. And to Sir Wilson, I know FutureGen operates mainly in the BPO sector. Do you have AI tools that you can share that you found most effective, especially in operations or maybe like customer service? And how did it relate to some of the tools you've seen at Super AI?
Um, well, some of the tools that we can now use with make which AI makes possible today that were not possible, say, a few years ago, would be in the area of speech analytics, where in the past we used characteristics of the conversation like pitch, volume, and speed to identify the probable irate callers. No, but now with advanced AI and speech to text large language models, we are able to provide additional data points, which is the actual words spoken. And when you mesh it together with the other qualities of the call, allows our call center supervisors to help identify agents that may need coaching, no, able be better able to serve the callers in the future. That's one. For predictive analytics in the era of security context, one of the gaps here is that hackers have evolved their trade. And so traditional methods of containing or defense does not work anymore. And so what you need to do is to have a very good AI tool to help you analyze and zero in on the anomalies. And so that is where we're actually in the process of writing a paper to be submitted for peer review on how we can given a 45 million row weblog, be able to quickly zero in on that 5% of the traffic that are actually attacks, no, in under 10 minutes. This is a very powerful demonstration of the possibilities that are now open to us. The other thing also is that um, AI and large language model helps us to do taxonomy. So
Mm,
once you can classify a conversation thread or a network incident by classifying them, like into types of attacks and so on, we can put them into a knowledge base that allows our people to quickly research, quickly tap on that knowledge. So we are able to help organizations tap on their tacit knowledge by capturing all of this. So far, those are the most likely tools that we use. And to add to Sir Bo's insights on predicting HR turnover, we've done some work on that field because, as you know, in call center work, employee turnover is a huge problem because of the high training cost. And
right.
so one way we did that was to do network graph analytics, knowing full well that one of the reasons people stay in the organization are the friends that are working in that organization. And so if you can identify the clique, the barkada inside
Mm,
your network, if one goes, you can have a higher level of prediction as to who else might be at risk just by looking at who among your, just by looking at the hidden relationships among the employees. And I think I've eaten a lot of time. Back to
No
you, Miss Blair.
worries. No worries. We'll discuss more. But Eugene, how about you? What are, I know you support, Infinite supports emerging businesses. What AI tools do you usually recommend to these startups?
Yes, normally our footprint is within historically within governance, risk compliance, legal, professional services, and personally, I've been talking to someone this morning from the United States, like advisors and business strategists. They would like to explore generative AI as companion to generate creative ideas and basically complement design thinking about this particular challenge of the client or strategic problem. But ultimately, it's still human decision making is supreme to any of those, because it's impacting process and people within organizations and their destinies, if you like. But in terms of a particular tool that I came across recently, and it wasn't at Super AI, it was released by American Association for Arbitration, and it was basically generative AI chatbot tool that would help you to create arbitration clauses. And so those who are in the industry, they would know that sometimes arbitration clause itself is just basically a paragraph of text that can impact multi-billion deals and dispute resolution across those. So that's a very interesting use case where a pretty reputable organization has released something like that. Other than this, I've came across some NLP solutions in the professional services industry that are working with experts to identify fraud and risk in particular setting in forensic investigations or in legal investigations, whether driven by government or law firm. In particular, NLP solution by a company called Nuix that's been acquired a couple of years ago. Other than this, I think back to Wilson's point, we really need to take care of security and data privacy and risk benchmarks, relying on the existing international legislation like upcoming into force EU AI Act, and high risk AI tools should be really looked through that lens as well. But that's me. I mean, we can continue in our panel discussion on the
For
rest.
sure. Well, for us at DashoContent, we're really interested about the creative side, generative AI. But then at the conference, I realized there has to be the predictive analysis part. And, it's not just the insights, it's also the insights that you glean from all these customers, their pain points in, managing a content workflow and then predicting that and then converting it into actual generative AI. I realized from Super AI, this is something that we have to build as well inside our platform. And one tool for me that I found quite interesting at Super AI, because they had that whole booth, and I think they were the winners as well, Bo, where for any image, like a photograph, for example, they would detect if this is AI edited or AI generated. So for me, that was super interesting, because a lot of content now could either be done by both, right? You generate an AI, let's say, image, it has 6 hands, you have it edited by a human being, and then you release it out there in the wild, and then you have to figure out, okay, is this AI generated? Was this done by purely human? And that tool, that startup, I guess, that won, I think it's a really good insight that they have built that, because it's going to be a problem in the future, deep fakes, scams and spams and all that. Any other tool you gentlemen want to highlight from, maybe not just from Super AI, but some interesting tools? Sir Wilson?
Yeah, this is from Super AI. I had the good fortune of meeting up with one, I think the second place winner of the competition. It's a company called Lighthouse. What they do is advanced CCTV analytics. So as we know, a lot of companies deploy CCTV, but no one is actually looking at the CCTV in real
That's right.
time, right? And so their solution enables one single person to monitor, say, 100 CCTVs. And so I think that's a game changer. So that's monitoring in terms of security. And we're not even talking about monitoring in terms of marketing use. Like, if you deploy that across a fashion house, you can see heat maps of the of which aisles are more frequented by the users and stuff like that. You can have traffic analytics. For safety, you can see what areas people go in without a hard hat, right? And so that will automatically flash an alert. And so this is a game changer. And I haven't seen the first placer, but the second placer really has a very good potential. Lighthouse. And I'm in no way financially incentivized to say that. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other interesting tools you want to highlight, Eugene? Bo?
Not really. I'm not a very much tool-oriented person. I'm more about trends and truth in our meeting
More
today.
trends and truth. Okay, more to say
Yeah.
later on. All right. So that's the last question about tools is that I was wondering why people always say that AI does not have a use case or there's no business model around AI. Like people are building a lot of things that are, more generative in a sense, but they always highlight the fact that AI does not have a business model. Do you guys agree with this?
I don't
Both.
think so. Yeah, I don't think so. And I never heard about AI being categorized as something that has no business model, to be honest with you, because there's just a lot of challenges out there that can be solved by AI, right? The automation alone is a big market, and absolutely there's a business case for that. The generative aspect of doing things is also a big market as well. And and those are type of business models that people can take advantage of. So no, I don't think so.
Okay, great. I think we should move on to the next section, which is trends. But before that, any of our participants here want to field a question, drop them on the chat. We'll try to ask our panelists here. All right, let's move on to the next one. Trends. Of course, the question always is, what are the trends in AI that you're interested in? For Bo, any emerging trends that you are seeing that could enhance employee experience and maybe workplace culture?
Oh, there's just a
What's
lot of
coming?
things happening. Yeah. So many things happening, at least in the space where we belong in HR, right? Because as you guys know, HR is dealing with huge amount of data. And typically we deal with several enterprise systems out there. And guess what? All of those data are scattered all over. So with now I'm seeing artificial intelligence being used in HR to get all of these data consolidated and at the same time getting the most out of it. But one of the things that I'm very excited about is the AI-driven employee surveys. So now gone are the days that employee opinion survey questions will be asked in one sitting. Soon, we will see questions asked over a period of time, with each question triggered by machine learning. So now you're not going to ask your employees with 20 questions in one sitting. Instead, some employees would probably receive 2 questions in a day or 2 questions in a week. And those questions are being triggered by machine learning. They are being asked on a day and time that the employee will highly likely respond to it. Another thing that I'm seeing is that employee opinion survey will now be driven by natural language processing. I'm seeing it analyzing open-ended responses that will then provide a deeper understanding of employee sentiments and concern. I can also see that these survey questions will become interactive to a point that as they respond, the next question will be progressive based on how the employee responded to it. And obviously, the thing that we are doing at Better Team, right? Predictive analytics for better employee experience. Um, I can see that AI-powered predictive analytics will be required in the new era of operations, not just in HR. I can see HR teams utilizing AI to forecast employee experience patterns, so they can be proactive in terms of building strategy. So in addition to that, you will also see a lot of employees utilizing generative AI, and that's to interact with different stakeholders within an organization. For example, a company can enable employees to request leave and confirm available coverage by using simple conversational English. So instead of them going through a time consuming approval
Lots of
process,
forms, right?
yeah, a lot of forms, time consuming process, typically has bias. Now they can do it with generative AI, and then Gen AI will provide the response to them. So those are just some of the things that I'm very excited about in the space that we are in right now.
Quite interesting. How about you, Sir Wilson? I think the BPO sector, I've received a message asking for case studies here in the Philippines where people are losing their jobs because they're taken over by AI chatbots instead of hiring people. So customer service, people are anxious about what's going to happen in the BPO sector. Any case studies or any trends that you're looking at that will impact your industry, Sir Wilson? You're muted. Kindly unmute.
I'm not very sure about the entire industry, so I can share only my opinion in so much as what I can see happening within
All right.
our sphere of operations. So if we start at the total life cycle of an employee, number one, from the hiring perspective, traditionally we've been hiring people that can communicate well in English, correct? But with the rise of like text to speech and speech to text, it's more of I see a shift from hiring voice talents to hiring AI talents, people that can optimize your AI deployment. Because one AI system, like an automated voice answering system, can do the work of 100 agents or more.
Ouch.
They do not ask for sick leave. They do not get paid 13th month pay. They do not go on strike. They do not need to be quarantined, things like that. But later on, we will also share the other side, right? So that's from the hiring perspective. From onboarding perspective, particularly because of the very acute demand and supply for cybersecurity experts, we have found that the two sigma effect popularized by Benjamin Bloom in 1984. So for those of you that are not aware of what the two sigma effect, they studied the effect of having personalized tutor on students' performance. And they were able to show that with a personalized tutor, the performance of a student improves by 2 standard deviation. So if you were like a student with 70 grade, with personalized tutor, you can expect to increase your grade to within the 80, 85, 90 range. And so that is also true with onboarding. A few weeks ago, we shared a actual case of how we can use ChatGPT, or in our demo was Copilot, Microsoft Copilot, to enable a new hire, zero knowledge from zero to hero, by just using a pre-designed prompt for security. They would be able to do 80% of tier 1 cybersecurity support just by knowing what the
What
cybersecurity
prompts?
prompts to use. And you can have it in a template manner, right? So that's the second thing. Also, because of AI, we foresee the day that our call center do not have to hire in English. What we do need to emphasize is not the language portion, but the empathy portion.
Right.
Because in the final analysis, you want people that have a lot of EQ, not IQ, EQ, and can empathize for customer service roles. And that is not something that you can easily train AI to do.
That's true.
And to re-echo what Eugene says, for AI to work, you have to collect a lot of data. And once you collect a lot of data, you are now on the hook to protect the data, as the favorite motto of data practitioners is, you must protect what you collect.
Protect
Right?
what you collect.
Oh, so if you collect something, make sure you can protect it. Otherwise, like recently, MaxiCare was in the news because their third party, Lab at Home, got breached. Over 13,000 records is now out there on the dark web. And so that is a concern. And for us in the call center business, that is also a engagement killer. Who will want to outsource to you if you cannot protect the data that is being outsourced in the first place? And so we have to have systems in place to secure the data at rest, in transit, no? And also, we have to shorten what we call the malevolent duration. This is the time that a hacker can get to be to spend inside your network before they're fully neutralized. And finally, right now, there's an excitement level to AI, right?
True.
But it is more exciting once that AI graduates to becoming an AI agent. So for example, if I have my own AI agent, I talk to my agent about what I want them to do, and they go out on the web and talk to other AI agents and get the things done. For example, if I talk to my AI agent like a virtual assistant, and I tell them, book me a plane fare to Bangkok on such and such a date, and and find me the cheapest hotel near a hospital or something. It is the AI that will do it. So probably once AI agents are in place, because in the Philippines there's a large segment of our what do you call those that are unofficially employed?
Freelancer.
Freelancers, correct. A lot of those freelancers are in the personal virtual assistant space. Once AI agents come into play, that market will go away. Okay, so those are some.
VAs are in trouble.
Those are some of the trends that I foresee may or may not happen. Remember,
Right.
this is only from my perspective, not from an industry perspective yet.
Yeah, quite exciting still. Thank you, Sir Wilson. How about you, Eugene? I know you're quite interested in trends, and you have a lot to share about trends. How about you? What are you seeing would happen?
Yeah, I just want to kind of second Mr. Wilson on some of the areas, for instance, EQ and human skills, right? So on one hand, the scary part of the story, some people might lose jobs, but if you look at this from evolutionary standpoint of view, they're not going to lose the jobs. They're going to lose certain niches in the organizations, and that means the organizations are evolving, and that means organizations will need still a true balance between advanced AI technology, robust process and design of the process that is executed by technology and human being. And then we speak about the value of human being. And back to Sir Wilson's point, there should be a combination of both, and things like EQ and empathy and actual strategic and close interaction between humans who are smart enough to leverage the power of AI, understanding the process and the strategy of the company altogether. This is where I think trends like workforce transition, both on the organizational level, on the level of government. Yeah, we have some of the guidelines here in Australia from organizations like APRA that regulates banks and big corporate enterprises in heavily regulated spaces,
Right.
and they're already saying, of course, go for it, innovate, introduce AI, embark on the AI adoption journey, but you need, as a regulated organization, to have a robust plan, short, mid-term, and long-term in terms of how you transition your workforce, because it kind of taps into corporate social responsibility and compliance play as well. You can't just get rid of 20% of the workforce saying, now AI is doing that work for you, because it's going to hit the economy. There should be a smooth approach to that, and also preparing people, of course, people who want to change, because it's
Right.
all about paradigm shift. It's not about another digital transformation or IT kind of, we're going to deploy a new software. It's not about that. It's actually paradigm shift for all elements of the business and the way how organizations and government operate. So I think those who are willing to embrace this change, they will have a lot of options in all possible industries, whether it's marketing, professional services, law, manufacturing, whatever it is. So back to the conference, Super AI, there was a great panel speaker from Hyundai Motor Corporation who said, we're actually struggling to hire people into our factories because the style of the new workforce, young generation workforce, they don't want to stay in the same workplace for more than a year or two. They want this versatility of the role across the organization, which might be good or bad, but that's the reality. We have changing workforce, we have disruption by AI, and we have pretty dynamic environment where those who want, they will embrace the change and they will harness their personal human skills, EQ potential to adopt that change on their end. So that story, that part of the story has its sort of scary part, driven by fear, and the beautiful part where we evolve as like as a collective with this technology. And I would also dedicate a big part of attention to cybersecurity, data protection. I'm foreseeing a huge development of so-called narrow AIs for organizations that are dealing either by law or by the nature of their business with very sensitive data, whether it's private sector or government sector.
Right.
I'm originally from Ukraine, so I perfectly know what cyber warfare is about. It's actually ongoing thing every second as we speak. Bad actors that will be deploying very advanced AI solutions to achieve their goals. So it's not about scary stories. It's about the factual business outcomes. If you're not really taking care or about securing your data, and don't mislead yourself if you think that your data sits in AWS or Azure, it's necessarily gonna give you all the security. It's not gonna give you all the security. So we had a lot of people from blockchain side of things in the Super AI conference, which might be an interesting combination.
That's right.
But we'll see how this evolves. Some of them were coming just to basically offer compute and storage sort of capabilities, but there were some others that are like really future thinkers about kind of narrow, secure AI solutions, and they might be coming from different ends, right? So, and another trend is more on the leadership side of the organizations and businesses that are resistant to change and have a plan to AI adoption or some sort of strategy. They're breeding what's called shadow AI adoption, when employees are using their
Shadow
individual
AI.
shadow AI adoption, that's the term. So they use their own ChatGPT or whatever tools at home, without consent, or remote workers without consent of the employer, and that exposes all the data security issues, and that exposes all the disruption to the existing process. It's basically, for the leadership team, they're living in denial that it's happening, and they're just delaying the problem, and which makes the problem a bigger one ultimately. So I mean that's kind of where I'm looking at, and I think we're in most instances we're aligned on many of those. So we're in paradigm shift, changing reality for humans, changing reality for operational models and processes in organizations, and then secure and safe AI solutions as well. There's been a news 8-9 hours ago that one of the previous co-founders of OpenAI,
Ilya.
he's I also speak Russian, so I can understand his mindset in a way. And
Can you share with us what that is?
He set up the secure, what is it called? Super intelligence startup. Yes. Obviously, he has serious backing behind that. It just gives you that trend. Okay, OpenAI, which was originally non-profit, right? It was a research and development organization. Now it's a very heavily commercial organization, pushing all these solutions to the market, like backed by Microsoft. And the guy who was basically expelled because of that conflict, he is now backed by some serious forces behind him who are talking about security and safety aspect only. So they're not talking about, oh, let's do this tool or let's do that tool and embrace this in marketing or that in sales. We're actually talking about security and safety now. So that's a very serious,
very high level,
flag kind of telling where we're heading now,
Yeah.
Hey, Eugene, I have a follow-up question for you. So do you see any trends around regulations being imposed by different governments, at least in our region? Because I'm seeing EU trying to figure out some sort of regulations around AI and data collection. Do you see the same thing happening in APAC too?
Yeah, the great question. Well, I think around APAC, I'm actually struggling to figure out common sort of ground, because I can tell for Australia, Australia is actually kind of trying to sitting in the fork in the road, trying to see what's happening between EU and US, because we have EU. Some people
Right.
blaming EU for over-regulating because it's kind of more human rights centered and all of that, and then you have US basically allowing 52 states to do whatever they want for now until they get to the federal level. Yeah, and this is more commercially driven model. And Australia is kind of waiting between those two, because on one hand, commercially driven model will yield a lot of things for economy, but it's a risky one, more risky one. And then European Union might be killing innovation, and we can kind of debate about it, but something in between. I think that, for instance, places like Singapore, they will be looking at also combination of things, hybrid approach. I would probably take that approach from APAC perspective, right? But to be honest, in some instances, it's Wild West. We're gonna see a lot of failures before we're gonna see a clearer picture. But I mean, it's an open conversation.
Definitely an open conversation. And I think it's about time we go to the truth, because as a wrap up, there's a lot of hype around AI. We know that. The gentlemen here on the call know that. What are common misconceptions and what's the truth really behind this? I've heard security, data privacy. I want to hear from Sir Wilson. I know you want to share more about Snowden and what his thoughts are about AI. So yeah, you want to share more, Sir Wilson? What's the truth here?
So, according to, well, the way Snowden packaged his point of view is that, consider it AI as your child, right? While it is true that that child could one day grow up to be a psycho killer, that doesn't mean that every baby or children that you have now is going to grow up a psycho killer. And that doesn't mean that you now have to regulate it such that only, and this is now my own words, is that, are you now saying that only the biggest company can get to have children? Or the biggest countries can get to have children, and the smaller undeveloped countries or the smaller players should not have children anymore because they cannot regulate, they cannot parent it, or they cannot help their AI to grow into becoming responsible citizens. And so that is where he's coming from. Yep. And in talking about security, I have a lot of things, on my plate.
Maraming hugot.
Maraming hugot. If you notice some of the biggest data leaks that happen in the country, it happened not, overnight, like, the hacker discovered your vulnerability and within 5 minutes they exploited, they extracted. No. What is happening is that it is a process, part of what we call the cyber kill chain, right? And in that cyber kill chain, there's a definite stages where, the first stage is reconnaissance, weaponization, exploitation, delivery, exploitation, and whatnot. Here's my point. I think I have a good idea that all of these major breaches, Robinsons, SNR, what's the other one? There were three that came in side by side, PMP also. All of these
SolarWinds, others, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yes, Eugene, SolarWinds is a third-party attack. Now, the common thread across all of them is that I think that they did not have a dedicated person watching, monitoring their servers, their systems, their logs. That is why the hackers were able to get in, not be detected, deploy their malware or their payload, exploit it, data exfiltration. That takes time. And in that time, if no one is watching your network, the hackers will get in. That's one truth. The other truth also is, from a defender's point of view, up until now, there's no other way for us to fight back up until now. So what we're doing, and I'd like to share this with Eugene and Bo, and Miss Flair, is that on behalf of our client, every IP that we see attacking our clients, we will send an abuse alert to the network owners.
Hmm.
This is what we call a legal fight back. We are not hacking them back. We are telling the owners that we are seeing attacks coming from their side. And you know what? The reason behind this is the key insight when you do data analytics. Majority of the attacks are coming from compromised servers themselves. Rarely will an attacker launch an attack from their own servers. Very rare. For example, we see a lot of attacks coming from Ukraine right now,
Oh,
right? Um, that doesn't mean it's the Ukrainians that are hacking us. It means that somebody is reflecting the
waiting.
attacks
Mm.
coming from the Ukrainian side, right? And because we now have a wealth of data, we know which networks are responsive and which networks don't care. The networks that don't care, these are what we call the bulletproof hosting. These are in demand by hackers. Why? Because the hackers know that if your network is a bulletproof hosting service, once they get access into your server, they can be there for years without being interrupted.
Ouch.
Ouch. And we have the rankings for that one. Yeah.
Very
So,
interesting.
so Sir
I'll tell you
Wilson,
more,
you
Wilson.
got
There
to
was
dedicate. No, I was just saying.
sorry, there was a database that I received information about from Ukrainians about a year ago.
Mhm.
A database of Australian-based servers that were used by hackers to attack other countries. It's a, like, was it called botnet network or whatever they call it. So it's never it's always a network effect. It's never one single point. Yeah.
Bo, you wanted to add something?
No, I just want to make a comment. So, Sir Wilson, you got a dedicated team that's really monitoring all of these things happening in your network.
So let me qualify that. Our team is leveraging AI because without AI, without data analytics, we would not be able to manage this at scale.
Yeah.
You know, picture this. Let's say the PNP was hacked and you say, we do forensics. Okay, they give you their logs. Their logs will probably be in the hundreds and millions of rows. Humanly impossible for a person to go at it line by line.
Yeah.
Humanly impossible. This is where I'm excited because this is what we're doing now. We applied a advanced machine learning algorithm that
Wow.
can quickly create a model based on the logs, 45 million, 100 million log entries. And from there, we can apply it to the rest of the logs and be able to quickly identify with up to 95% accuracy all the anomalous data. So imagine, in terms of forensics, within 15 minutes, we can tell you, oh, these are the IPs that you should investigate. Or the value of having such a data for network administrators is you can block this IP right away while you're still doing
So
forensics.
that's automation.
Yes, in the hopes that one of those is your actual hacker that cannot go in anymore because you blocked them. Previously, the hacker's mindset was because of the sheer volume, no system administrator can identify the attacks where they're coming from. But guess what? It is now possible because of these AI tools, data
Wow.
analytics. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. We should do another session for data and AI, I guess. Bo, how about you? What's your truth? Any final parting words?
No, keep in mind that AI will never replace human, specifically HR, right?
Amen.
Yeah, a lot of my peers in the HR space would always tell me that, oh gosh, we're gonna lose our job. No, definitely not, because AI is coming into the equation to pretty much augment the function of HR, transitioning
Great.
their function from an admin partner into a strategic partner. So this is a very exciting period for a lot of HR folks because now they get to do the job that they're supposed to do, be a strategic partner for their stakeholders.
That's great. Eugene, what's your truth? Final parting words as well.
Yeah, I actually wanted to reflect quickly on Wilson's words about that Snowden said about child and
Right.
AI. So I literally have. So you remember November 22, ChatGPT was released into the broad public, and my daughter was born in November 2022. Now I can compare the development of
Wow.
ChatGPT versus my daughter, and I'm telling you, it's much more interesting to develop a human being. But then in reality, we all need to embrace the adoption in a ethical and responsible way, and even things that we covered around cybersecurity and data protection and the supply chain. Now we'll need to look into things like procurement responsibility. If you apply specific tool, how does it impact your trading partners, your stakeholders? Everything from data perspective up to the process perspective. So I think also this whole conversation around increasing compute power to just deliver AI solution, I'm not sure that's actually true. I think there are more lean and effective solutions in kind of narrow AI space, which can benefit everyone in different industries. So that's my truth. I know we're wrapping up slowly.
Yes.
So I need to
Thank
be
you for that.
responsible.
We should have a longer conversation. But anyway, my truth, I'll share with it as well, with you guys as well, is that a lot of branding consultants, a lot of marketing departments still need the human beings. In fact, they look for the perfect partners that can capture their own brand voice. And right now, AI is really not the solution to that. So that is the truth as well in the marketing and your creative space. So I will let Miss Charlene do the quick wrap up. But yeah, thank you so much, Bo, Eugene, and Wilson for sharing your tools, the trends, and your truth.
Thank you all to our guests and attendees for engaging and for the discussion today. As we wrap up, I want to remind everyone that this conversation on AI for marketing and business, or AI as a whole, it really doesn't stop here. We're very excited to continue this dialogue, hopefully with the same set of people at DashCon 2024, happening on August 1 at AWS in BGC Manila. So DashCon 2024, it's a unique opportunity to deep dive into AI innovations and to network, of course, and explore the future of AI. So we're excited to announce that our keynote speaker will be Sir Dominic Ligot. He is a renowned expert in AI and data science. Dominic's insights and experience in the field will provide very invaluable knowledge to help drive growth, whether it's personally or further your business. And to show our appreciation for all the participants here today, we're offering a special early bird promo for DashCon. Instead of the 3,000 peso walk-in rate, you can get a pass for 50% of that, just 1,500 pesos. So don't miss the chance to be part of an event that promises to be just as insightful as today. So I'm sending the ticket link here right now. We're sending you the link in the Zoom chat right now, but if you want to know more, you can also visit the DashoContent Facebook page for more details. So thank you guys once again for joining us. This event has been brought to you by DashoContent, an AI-powered content subscription platform for enterprise marketing teams to scale content creation. And also Aspire is an all-in-one finance operating system for new age businesses. Thank you to Aspire for their support. Thank you again, everyone. We look forward to seeing you at DashCon 2024. Have a great end of your week, and goodbye.
And that was the latest episode of Wicked Thoughts. Make sure to subscribe and join the host on The Wicked at thewckd.com. Thank you to our sponsors, the companies Cebu, Third Team Media, Dasho Work, Dasho AI, and DashoContent, a content team for your marketing department. Tune in for more wicked conversations right here at Wicked Thoughts.